Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Spiritual Transformer. So, today I want to talk about something a bit personal. And, okay, maybe I'm probably going to make a thumbnail that says My Personal Demons. So, if you see that, that's what it is. And I do have to apologize for a bit of clickbaiting there because I don't think what I'm about to say would classify as a personal demon, but it is something that's taunted me for most of my life. So, what is it that I want to talk about? I want to talk about something that's. You know how when you study spirituality, teachers always say, that certain things happen for you over and over and over until you learn their lesson. For instance, you could be attracting bad coworkers or bad job situations or negative relationship situations. And that could happen over and over and over until you figure out what it is you need to learn and what it is you need to let go. And then those situations kind of go away because they're not necessary anymore for you to learn a particular lesson. Well, this is what I want to talk about today. My personal demon is something that I have to learn over and over and over again in my life. And it's not really so demonic, so I do apologize for the clickbaiting there, but yeah. So this one thing has taunted me for most of my life, and I feel like most of my life I've just been waiting for things, just waiting for things to happen. And I guess I'm going to start small, right? Because it's usually just the small things. Fortunately, I don't have anything big like negative work relationships or bad romantic relationships. I don't have any of that, thank God. But just because something is small doesn't mean it's not important, especially since it just keeps coming up over and over like it does for me. So for me, it's basically waiting. I feel like I wait a lot in my life. And it just so happens that two of my number one hobbies, so yeah, these hobbies are tied to each other, is involves a lot of waiting. So I've got basically two major hobbies: playing video games and building model kits. Model kits like these little robot things, which I really love. So I'll go into that a bit later. But you're probably like, so it's video games and robots, big deal. But it's if there's one lesson that these things have taught me, and it is how to wait, because I feel like I wait a lot. So what do I mean by that? All right, as an example, one of the most anticipated games of 2026 right now is GTA 6 or Grand Theft Auto 6. Everybody and their dog is waiting for this game, right? And that's kind of what I mean. The hype for GTA 6 is at a fever pitch right now. You can't go throw a stone at YouTube and not bump into a video about GTA 6. And as it gets closer to and closer to release, I believe it's fall. I think it's November of this year, it will finally be released. But a lot of people have been waiting forever for it. And it was supposed to have come out last year, but it didn't. It got delayed to this year, which if you're waiting for GTA 6, it's excruciating. And that's the kind of waiting that I'm talking about. I'm a big gamer, and I like to play games that are new releases. I'm not the kind of guy who waits for a sale for a game that I really, really want to play. I like to play it day one. So that basically kills me because I'm always waiting for a game to be released. Personally, I'm not all that excited about GTA 6, so at least that's one thing off my back. But I wait for a lot of games. I still remember how it all started, really. It started back in the SNES days, for Pete's sake, the SNES days. And the one game I waited forever for was The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. The first and only SNES Zelda game, if my memory serves me. Yes, I believe so. And it was a big deal at the time because The Legend of Zelda is huge here in North America. And I remember, like, back then we had no internet, right? And we had to rely on magazines. you know, Electronic Gaming Monthly, Nintendo Power, and one of the magazines said, you know, I forgot the year, but it was like March or April that The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past will be released. And I remember going to Toys R Us, and I don't see it. I remember calling Toys R Us multiple times, and they say they don't have it, they don't know when it's going to come. Inevitably, there'll be a new issue of a magazine that would say, oh, it's now, I don't know, December or October or whatever. I don't even remember when the game released. All I remember is waiting like a sucker for it. I waited years for that game. I just waited and waited and waited, and it killed me. And like when I finally got hands on that game, it was like the best thing since sliced bread. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. I still love it today, but I do a lot of waiting. Is my point. And me being a big gamer who wants to play games on day one, for better or for worse, I do a lot of waiting. And that's it. Like, why? My question is, why do I have to be so enamored with hobbies in which I have to wait? Now, I know I don't have to wait for video game releases. I just choose to. But why is it that I'm so attracted to it? Like, why can't I have a hobby that's like jogging? I can go out and jog right now if I wanted to. Just put on some running shoes, a pair of shorts, something warm, and just go, run, jog, whatever. Or something fitness related. You just get yourself a pair of dumbbells, and you just anytime you want, you just start lifting weights. Why can't my passionate hobby be one of those? There's gotta be hobbies somewhere out there. You don't have to wait at all. Like if you're into movies, and if you like Netflix, you just boot up Netflix and watch whatever movies you want. Like, why can't I freaking have that kind of hobby, right? Like I just don't know. I'm attracted to these things. And another things I'm attracted to is building model kits. So this is one of my latest builds. I think I only built this about a month ago, right? It's very nice. It's very detailed. It's great stuff, and but it's also very niche, right? It's very, very niche. And now these days, if you want to build model kits of these kinds, it's actually relatively easy to get hands on them. In most major cities, there's like a lot of hobby shops that you can just walk into and pick one up. Online, it's easy as pie. But guess what? I got into model kits way back in the 90s. And you don't just find these anywhere. You have to go to like there's only maybe 2 stores in this entire city that back then may have sold some. There's probably more, but you can't really find them. There's no internet, right? Holy cow, you gotta stumble upon these or word of mouth, and it's brutal. Like, just like with games, I like my model kits. I like getting model kits that are the latest and greatest, right? And now, my backlog right now is high as a mountain, so I don't really care about the latest and greatest because I've got plenty to build. But back then, when I first started this hobby, it was not just finding it, just finding this stuff. And then when it got time when finally we had the internet, it didn't get that much better because these hobbies is building model kits, these robot things are so niche that if you want model kits for yourself, you go to a store. If you're lucky, they have it because the selection back then was pits. Chances are you're unlucky and they don't have it. And then you have to go online. And when you go online, there are places that you can buy directly from the source. And the source just happens to be Japan for these kind of model kits. Most of them. These days, it's also China. But the point is, you got to go online. You got to place the order. You got to wait till it processes, then ships. Then you got to wait 2 weeks for it to show up. And then if you're unlucky, the post person would come in when you're not home, and then it would end up at a post office. And you gotta go post office and pick it up yourself. My point is, another one of my major hobbies just ends up being a waiting game. Like I said, it's not so bad now, but back when I started, back in the 2000s, when I'm still heavily into it, I had to wait a lot. I had to wait a lot just for things to ship and stuff. And these days, man, I became an Amazon Prime member just so I don't have to wait. And these days, if I'm stuck in traffic or I'm waiting behind a line, I get impatient. So, yeah, my demon just so happens to be impatient. Impatience, actually. If there's one thing the universe repeatedly tries to teach me is how to be patient, because it's very, very hard for me. And, by now you're probably like, what is this guy talking about? Model kits, video games, what's the big deal? But it comes up over and over. So maybe in your life too, there's something tiny that always comes up over and over the course of years or whatever, you just get overwhelmed. Nowadays, I have plenty of coping mechanisms for waiting, but guess what? The best coping mechanism is a spiritual technique, which is very simply put, is just gratitude, right? If you're waiting for something, it's only unbearable when you're focused on the waiting. So what's the trick? The trick is just to focus on something else. I mean, I haven't mastered it. You figured I would have mastered this by now with years and years of practice, but I still stumble. And it's crazy because I have plenty of video games to play while I wait for the next big release. I have plenty of model kits I can build while I'm waiting for one to get here from Japan. And you figure I learned that by now, but it's still kind of hard. Maybe that's why this lesson keeps coming up over and over for me. So maybe my one lesson is just to have more gratitude for things that I'm waiting for. To cut down on the torture of waiting. And it's very simple. Just be grateful for what you have. Focus on what you have, not what you don't have, even if what you don't have is somewhere along the postal routes. Just chill, be happy with all the stuff that it's already in front of you. Pay attention to those. Have fun with those, whatever it may be. Enjoy them, whatever it may be. Stay in the present moment, such as it is, and don't worry about it. Yeah. Whew. Yeah, there was thing about making these kind of videos when I'm just shooting off the top of my head is that there was something else I wanted to talk about. But now I totally forgot. But you know what? Maybe that's a good thing because I can talk about it in another video. Because this one is running a little long for me. So, yeah, just a little data dump for you guys over here. So if you like this content, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe. You've been watching the Spiritual Transformer, and I will see you next time. Bye for now. Peace.